Hello and welcome to Business Compass. Today on Business Compass, I have two amazing young ladies with us in the studio. And they are going to walk us through their entrepreneurial journey, and we'll see some of the challenges that they are facing moving from one kind of business into another kind of business. So Belinda and Gloria, welcome to Business Compass.
Thank you.
It's also my privilege to have two other amazing women in the panel with me today who are joining us as experts and will be supporting us in the journey that we're going to take today. Mrs. Mona Korte is a founding director and the managing partner of BVM Advisory Services. And of course, she's also a former Deputy Minister of Ghana in our beautiful Republic of Ghana. Welcome, Mona.
Thank you.
And we have Mrs. Petra Asamoah. Petra is a marketing professional and she's the author of Sales 101. And we actually do have copies of your book right here. Welcome, Petra.
Thank you very much.
So, today, Belinda and Gloria are going to take us on a journey in entrepreneurship, starting from property management all the way to selling meat and seafood products. It's going to be a very interesting journey, and we'll start, before we even listen to them, we'll take a peek at what they've been doing behind the scenes, and then we'll come back to the studio and we'll talk to them.
My name is Belinda Otu and I'm the CEO for Bels Meat and Seafood Hub. Our major product is goat meat, and then in moving on to the business we added seafood to it. One Christmas we bought a goat in the house and then they delivered it to us. So I did the dressing in the kitchen. And then I realized that I fell in love with the tying of the intestines, which made it something very different. So when my mom came, she was surprised that when the goat was delivered, I was able to do that packaging. So moving on to the following Christmas, that's 2018, 2 weeks before Christmas, I outsourced someone's farm in Sawam, and they gave me, the first start was 10 goats. So I did my WhatsApp adverts, I sent it to my friend that I'm selling goats, so they have to order, and then I send it to them. Because I didn't have the goats readily available. But because everybody knows that, most of my friends on WhatsApp knows that I paste goat meat, so they assume that I had something like that. So that sold for me for 2018. Our first challenge is we don't have a lot of storage for our items because they are fresh. Our farmers are doing a lot of work. They are producing a lot of items in terms of the tilapia and then even with the seafood. But if we had a bigger space, or we had a bigger platform where we can just take it from our local farmers and then deliver it to our customers, that would be very great. We have issues with petty thefts in our farm, so we cannot keep more than 10 or 20 goats in the farm at a go. Bels goats coming on to Business Compass, I believe is one of the greatest opportunity for us, because we are going to meet panel of judges who are going to help us to shape our business in terms of strategy, in terms of marketing, and then also to put us in the market level where we can meet international standards.
So, we're back, and Belinda and Gloria, again, thank you for coming to Business Compass. And just tell us briefly, how did this journey start? You started in properties, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, how did that go?
We started in 2017 when I was working with my company, and then one of my friends contacted me that she had a family property that she wanted to sell. And so we put it up on WhatsApp, and then realized that a lot of people started asking questions about where the property is.
From your WhatsApp status?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
where the property is. So we took them on site visits, and that was a family property. So then we said, okay, then if that's the case, we can just put it up that we are selling properties, and then let's see the feedback. So we just started question and answers, and then realized that my friends around my age needs like house or land to buy, and so we went into. I decided to do the research, finding out where I can get lands that we can pay for 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And then that's how come.
So you started selling lands on credit to people, and they were paying in monthly installments.
Yes.
And so that's how Bels Properties
started.
Okay. And this was just in 2017.
2017.
So how did you move from Bels Properties to wanting to sell meat and seafood products?
Bels Properties was moving, but was not moving very fast, like month on month. But once in a while, we get a client, we go and visit the place, and then we.
So the revenue stream was not consistent.
Yes.
Once in a while, you get a good deal, and
yes, and then Bels Goods also came in.
How do you move from properties to goats?
The goats came in because same on WhatsApp status. Every Friday in our office we have a canteen, and then we have fufu on Fridays. So
I want to
Friday,
go to this office. Okay.
So every Friday we when they serve us the fufu, and then the people that prepare the food, I'm very free with them, so they tell me the soup that we are eating, so I prepare and I take pictures and then post it on my WhatsApp status, so my friends could relate with me that Friday. So sometimes when I forget or I'm not in the office on Friday, you know, they ask me, hey, today what are you eating? And so that brought about the idea that at least what I was posting for fun, when I don't post, people can WhatsApp me that what am I eating on that particular day. So when the idea of goat meat came up, when I shared with my friends, they were able to relate with it because of what I was posting on Fridays.
So from there, you started selling goat meat to your friends from your WhatsApp status?
From my WhatsApp, because I posted it there that I'm selling. That was 2 weeks to Christmas. That I'm selling goat meat. If you want goats, let me know. You pre-order. And when I was sharing it on WhatsApp status, I didn't have any goats. I didn't have any capital. But I just knew that definitely somebody will order, and then I'll go and look for it and then supply it to them. But the first post, I just had 4 people. They booked 2 days before Christmas. And so I went to Sawam, looked for where I can get goats, and then the first farmer I contacted, I shared my idea with him that I have friends in Accra, they want to buy goat meat, and so once they contact me, can he kill it for me? And that was how we started.
I mean, this is brilliant, because I'm sure when I'm Petra, so many times you hear people say, I want to start a business, but I don't have capital. And Belinda has a clear talent for starting businesses without capital. First, she started a property business without capital, just by positioning herself between the seller and the potential buyers. And then she starts a goat meat business the same way, and using her WhatsApp status. I mean, it's brilliant. So it really is possible to start a viable business without capital, and just using the immediate resources that you have. Using your friends, using your phone, the same WhatsApp status where people post all kinds of stuff that is not their business. You can actually post stuff that is your business and make some money out of it. Brilliant. Okay.
By the end of 2018, we had sold 20 goats, and so the farmer keeps on calling me that in January, am I going to do it? I said, oh, if someone should contact me, I'll let him know. So month on month, when they're having weddings, parties, they'll call me, I'll deliver to their caterer, and then even kebab sellers, they call me, I deliver full goods to them. So then I realized that then I became the gap between these people to provide the same services.
You want to come in?
Yes, thank you, Charlotte. I mean, this is such a good example of how one is opportunistic and chances upon a great idea, and the kind of business model that Belle has created around what she realized through her gap analysis was needed. She could see that gap between the demand for a product and she being able to supply. So with respect to her meat business, I almost see her as an aggregator.
Yes.
This is a woman who pulls from all the different sources. She has the demand by she playing on the virtual landscape through WhatsApp and
she
all
knows
that.
how to use her phone to do customer
She
service.
does. And she's able to deliver, because if she wasn't delivering, she wouldn't be sitting here today. So most likely she is delivering. But that role of being an aggregator is been good for you. And again, it depends on referrals, your ability to deliver. And she's done a great job. I love this business model that you've come up with. And a lot of times the question is, where do I get the capital to start from? So what you said was spot on. She's done it without capital. The capital she used was what she already had. And it always reminds you of the story in the Bible where the prophet asked the woman who came that, what do you have? You know, so it always starts with what you have. And it's not always money. It can be skill, it can be ideas, it can be your old
contacts.
phone. Contacts. Networking is most critical. I'd like to tell Belle that in the early 80s, I actually worked in a meat shop one summer. And it was a meat shop in Adabraka, Pioneer Meat Company.
Okay.
And it was a company that was owned by husband and wife, but the husband was the farmer and the wife was the meat processor.
There you go.
And I worked with her, and she made all sorts of things like bacon and ham, and she had ways of cutting, you know this, cutting the pork chops, the ribs, all the special sections. And I mean, the kind of customers that she had was unbelievable. But of course, they invested in their cold store and so forth. So that business is definitely a versatile one, very diverse. The business model starts from the big type, which I have just described, all the way to the small one that starts in your kitchen, where you are able to tie up offal so pretty that your mom says, this is beautiful, and it's attractive to people. At the end of the day, it's people being attracted to what you have to offer. So your business model may have been small, started that way, but I can see a future for you, and I can see that you can grow into it. And we'll talk about all the details that go into making this business plan a good one.
Petra?
So it was exciting to hear she started from WhatsApp. And WhatsApp is such an easy, accessible tool. We hear entrepreneurs or small business owners saying we don't have money for marketing.
Yes.
But marketing is so many things beyond just having a billboard or a TV ad. And it was exciting to hear how you've used the very easy, accessible tool of WhatsApp to begin to promote your business. I think as I went through your story and what you've done, you used something very important, and Mona spoke about that, your capital, and not just money, but your social capital. So your friends, your family as the base for starting your business and growing. I think the next stage would then be, how do you scale it to make sure that people outside of your immediate circle of friends have access to your product. I think that it's also, just like Mona said, a very unique product that you have. It would then be good for us to see how you're able to segment the different product offerings to different market segments. So for instance, busy professionals, families, people in the diaspora that want to surprise their family members in Ghana, things like that. So I'm sure you're going to have an exciting journey.
Okay. I think we should, because there's two of you that are in this business together, we need to look at the naming of the business, how it's progressed. We need to look at the legal structures of the business. How are you managing this partnership for those at home who are thinking of going into partnerships? And then we also need to look at, because you are in the business of handling food, meat, seafood products, fish, what are the kinds of licenses that one requires to go into this kind of business, so that anyone who is sitting at home and who wants to go into this can know all the steps that they have to take. So let's start. So you and Gloria are in this together.
Yes.
How does that work out on paper? Have you done a legal structuring, or you now need to do a legal structuring?
We are now doing the legal structuring. The reason being that we haven't actually converted the business, the initial Bels property, to accommodate the activities that we are doing at the moment.
Okay.
So we've initiated the process of conversion. We've made the payments to actually, we had some penalties and all that, so we had to pay all that to necessitate the conversion.
Okay, but
So
you
we're
are
doing that.
converting into what legal vehicle? Are you going to be a limited liability
A
company?
limited
Are you going to
liability.
be a partnership?
A limited liability.
Do you know what that entails?
Yes, we do.
What does it entail?
It means that we become separate from the business.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to have 2 directors and then a secretary on.
And of course, the 2 directors are both of you.
Yes.
Oh,
Please.
yeah, there you go. And the company secretary. What does the company secretary do for you?
The company secretary actually is to ensure that the documentations, the things that we have to pay annually and all those things are in order.
Okay, so let's step back. You're converting to a limited liability company, and that I would highly recommend as a lawyer for people who are in your situation, because you're dealing with food. You're dealing with things that people consume. By the very nature of the business, there are risks that it carries. And so as much as we expect that you would do all the proper things that you need to do, as in if you are going to be slaughtering yourself, making sure that you get a license for a slaughterhouse, or the farmers that are supplying you should make sure that they are properly licensed to slaughter the meat and handle the meat the way they should before you now take over. That's important. You would need a food handler certificate. So you would need to be doing a lot of liaising with the Food and Drugs Authority to make sure that you are compliant in all the things that you need to be, all the certificates you need to have and the permits to be handling food. You will need, of course, your business registration certificates, but you need a food hygiene permit, which is renewed annually, and that's from your local assembly. In your case, it may be multiple assemblies because you're getting meat, you're getting your fish products from different places. Just ensure that in every area where you're operating as a business or where you have a premises, you need to be properly licensed. But when it comes to both of you, I think it makes sense that you would be working as a limited liability company, because that means that the liability that you carry as you're dealing with the public is limited to the amount that you've invested in the business. But that also requires that financially, and I'm sure Auntie Mona would come in on that, you separate yourself from the business. Especially when you're starting out, and it happens to all of us as entrepreneurs. It's very easy that, oh, we need ribbons for the hamper. You dip your hands into your wallet and you take out the money and you buy the ribbons. Somebody just ordered meat. There's no, you dip your hands, and you need to structure in a way that the business is separate from you, and that any monies that you put into the business is properly recorded as an investment in the business. But even more importantly, how you manage the receivables. That's what collapses a lot of businesses. The monies that come into the business, how does it come in?
So for now, I handle the seafood aspect, so I can speak more to it. Now, the money that comes as capital injections. So when it comes in, we receive it. We have a POS system. When we buy stock with actual cash, we receive it, and then it comes up at the end of the month. We show how much any individual has invested in the
Gloria,
business.
hold up. You manage the seafood side.
Yes, please.
And Belinda manages what? The meat.
The meat
side. Because I work and I do it part-time.
I think right there, Auntie Mona is going to have a lot to say. We'll take a break because this is one business entity. And now you're dividing your roles, not based on actual administrative roles, but on product lines, and one person is managing this and one person is managing that, and we need to see how that works, or that should be working. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we will delve into how you're managing your receivables, how you're keeping your books, because if you really want to grow and do all the things you've told us you want to do, we need to get your structures right, especially the financial structures from the get-go. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we would look at how receivables should be managed. By receivables, we mean the monies that come into your business, the sales. How should that be managed? How should you be managing your revenue? How should you be collecting it? How should you be keeping it on the books? And when you have two partners, really, what should the division of roles be? We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, viewers, and thank you so much for joining us today. So we are in the studios with Belinda and Gloria of Bels Meat and Seafood Hub, and we're talking to them about some of the challenges they faced in their business so far. We're getting into the issue of management of their finances. So ladies, tell us, so you sell, the customer pays before you deliver?
Yes, please.
Okay, and you have suppliers who are supplying you with the meat and the seafood products.
Yes.
So how does that work? Do you buy on credit and sell, or how does that work?
For now, we don't buy on credits, we buy on cash.
So you pay, so for instance, if you're going to supply me with goat meat, you buy the goat meat first.
No, they buy the goat.
Sorry, you buy the goat. Yes, okay. Before you now sell to me.
Yes.
So your cash goes out first.
Yes.
Before you now receive cash. So do you have challenges with that?
With our customers, you pay before we deliver.
Okay.
So because we dress the item before we deliver, so once we don't receive any cash, we don't work on your stuff for you.
Yeah, but if I'm buying just a little bit of goat meat, you still have to source like a whole goat before you can deliver my little bit of goat meat.
Yes.
And you would have paid out for the entire goat.
Yes, currently we do just half and full goats.
Okay.
We don't do in kilos, especially for the goat meat. But
Okay.
with other products, we do 1 kilo and then the rest. So for the goats, we buy maybe 2 or 3 for the week because we know we've done it for some time. So in a week, we know our demand. So we always have, we always make sure we have 3 or 4 goats in stock. When anytime the customer calls, we take it to them.
How does it work for the seafood?
The seafood, we also stock up.
Okay.
So we've come to learn the kind of items that our customers demand
You
of
know
us.
the pattern.
Yes. So we usually stock up. Once our stock has gone below 5 kilos, we need to stock up.
Okay.
Yes. So that is how we manage the seafood items.
And you store that in the meantime?
Yes, we store
So-
it for a maximum of a week.
Okay, so in your pricing, and I'm bringing up these things because these are the little things that matter to small businesses. In your pricing, you have to factor in the cost of what you bought,
Yes.
the cost of the storage, the cost of the packaging, and the cost of the delivery
Yes.
into the pricing that goes to the client.
Yes.
And you've got your formula sorted.
Yes.
Okay, so
For the delivery, we actually charge separate from the item, depending on your location.
You don't carry that cost.
No.
So that cost goes is directly borne by the
The
customer.
customer, yes.
Okay. And you pay yourselves a salary.
At the moment, no.
So how do you get paid for the work that you're doing?
She works full time, and I also,
No, how do you get paid for the work that you're doing for this company?
because we want to grow the company, we don't want to start paying ourselves yet. We want to see the growth of the company before we can sit down and properly structure a payment for each
So
of
how
us.
do you know that it's profitable? Because your time is not and your labor is not being factored into
Yeah.
your pricing formula.
Yes, we have an oval POS system that actually shows us our profit and loss after every day. You can do a day report, a week report, a monthly report. So from
Very
that,
good.
yes, from that we deduct all our expenses. Even if we have to pay toll booths when we're going to get stock, we deduct everything. And at the end of the day, we know how much is left as profit alone.
I
And
think
then
that's
we put
really good
that back into the
management, and I'm
business.
sure Auntie Mona is going to take you guys on that. But my issue is, as business owners, in calculating your profit and loss, even when you make a profit, it is a profit because you are not paying yourselves.
Right.
So at some point, you'd have to start paying yourself. How are you going to price that in? Because you have not priced it in now. Maybe Mona would help. I'm not sure. I'm communicating this very well.
So ladies, you've told us a little bit about your supply chain, starting from where you source your goods from, whether it's seafood or it's meat,
yeah.
where you source it from. Of course, there are transportation costs involved in going to those places. You've also told us about storage, and actually for now, we've only spoken about storage of meat products or seafood product. However, I also hear you at some point talking about storing livestock, and you mentioned that you have a place. I don't know whether we can call it a farm, but you do have a place where you store livestock. And I can see the wisdom in that. Sometimes you need to even fatten the livestock before you can actually go ahead and do what has to be done to it. So you have that in the supply chain as well, where you are storing livestock and you're also storing what has already been cut up ready for sale. So at the point of sale, an order comes in and the purchase takes place. You talked about you being able to know your profit and loss on a daily basis. What you actually get to know on a daily basis is your revenue,
yeah.
not profit. It is revenue, the cash
sales
inflow, what has come in, So that's what we call the revenue that came in, okay. Later, whether it's a week or on a monthly basis, depending on how your bookkeeping is done, you would sit down and look at all the inflows, and then you'd also lay out all the outflows. And you spoke to some of that, being like toll booth payments, cost of fuel, cost of whether you're running a vehicle
storage,
to go back and back. Then, of course, your energy costs for running your kitchen and your I'll call it cold store for now. So then, at the end of the month, you're able to tell whether you have a positive difference or a negative difference. Now that's only at a certain point in time. This continues till it's a quarter, which is 3 months, half year, or the full year. Then you can determine whether the business has been viable or not. Some of the important things that Charlotte tried to raise with you is about being able to tell the feasibility or viability of a business. Certain businesses are more out of passion, born out of passion, and therefore you are not even looking for a profit, you just want to offer a service. But in this particular case, you do want to cover your expenses. So even if you didn't have a big margin, and the margin is the difference that comes to you after you have taken out your costs from the revenue. If you didn't even want that, you would want to cover costs. You don't want to go and buy 100 CDs gold, spend money on it, cut it up into little bits, and then sell it for 80 CDs as meat products. That's a loss right there. It's a loss of more than 20 CDs actually. However, you would have in mind, and I know that you have that in mind, but how do you do that scientifically, where you say, I should be able to sell this goat and make an extra 100 CDs on what I bought it for. So I bought it for 100. By the time I finish selling it, I should have 200 CDs on this one
and
goat.
be able to pay yourselves.
So that you've covered all the things that you want to cover. So that kind of that exercise, you need to sit down and then plot that out so that you don't finish and say, oh, we sold it at a loss, or oh, we didn't make as much as we expected. For example, being able to pay yourselves, or being able to pay ECG for the electricity, or Ghana Water for the water. I'm sure you use a lot of water. Another thing, apart from storage, which determines flow, because sometimes you can't tell a customer, oh, we don't have squid, 2 weeks, we still don't have squid. It means you are not keeping safety, we call them safety levels, but in inventory we call it safety levels.
That's like the basic stock you need to have at every point of everything.
So you must have an idea of that and how to maintain that. Now that means that you must have enough money to buy and stock. So in fact, an investment takes place amongst you investors. You put out some money upfront to purchase these things, and then they are subsequently sold, and you make sure that you always have your stock, and therefore your storage is continuous. It's 24/7, because seafood and meat has to be kept frozen at a certain temperature all the time. You never turn it off. In fact, I would expect that you also have a backup. So if you don't, that's one of the things amongst the business plan you need to start thinking about: a generator that comes on when electricity company takes away electricity. Even in the distribution, for now you may be using motorbikes, am I right, that keep it in a cold sort of box and get it there. With time, as you grow, you may consider cold storage trucks that will do many deliveries in one trip rather than a single trip to customers. And that way you may embed the delivery cost in your pricing rather than the customer taking on a delivery cost. Sometimes it puts a customer off. And then the important thing, which is staff and management, which is yourself and the people who help you to do your business, they must have the right training. They must be quality people. When we say quality people, we're talking about people who are honest and have integrity, that they don't take away parts of your produce and say, oh, this one madam won't sell it, oh, this one is waste. But no, it may be something that you may actually be selling. So it's very important that you are managing all that carefully. Now, with the finances, I hear you say that you do the bookkeeping yourself.
Yeah.
When it comes to financing, that is yourself. You investing money. Nobody's going to do that for you unless you invite someone. So that's you investing yourself. But when it comes to bookkeeping, ideally, it's best to have an independent bookkeeper who is really just recording everything that you're doing. And you can supervise later or check to make sure that they are actually capturing what you're doing. But it's best to have someone who is dedicated to that. You are not selling and collecting and mixing and confusing, and as Aunt Charlotte was saying, sometimes dipping into your pockets too. But you have someone who is keeping track completely.
And especially when it's a partnership, I think that independent bookkeeper is also important to ensure that your relationship doesn't run into problems because of poor bookkeeping.
Yes, it's very important. There are many times when, as human beings, we spend money and we forget we've spent
Yes.
the money, and
I'm
we're
very good at
searching
that.
for it. Yes,
I'm very good.
So even amongst friends, that can come up, and then later you may remember. So the independent bookkeeper makes sure that everything is on paper. Therefore, there's nothing to forget.
And it forces them to keep receipts.
That's right. Now, in terms of packaging, I want to know the things you outsource. So first of all, the produce, the livestock, let me say, you don't own the farms. It's owned by some farmer. So it's not your thing, but you get stuff from them. So that's one. Then, in terms of packaging the meat, do you buy plastics and so forth from other places? Yes. Tell us what it costs for us to get to this level of having a piece of meat nicely wrapped and delivered to a customer.
Okay, what we are doing currently is we started something that's the budget specific hamper due to the coronavirus season.
I think you help us, the budget specific hamper.
People were not able to go to markets to buy meat, so they will call me, Bell, they have 200 cedis or 300 cedis. They want a little bit of this. So that brought about the idea, and then so any amount that you have, from minimum is 150 Ghana cedis. We are running a lock-up price with our suppliers for the goat meat, because I buy in every week. I buy some particular numbers. I have the goods as a lock-up price. It doesn't exceed that price.
So that is very good. You have negotiated a fixed price for this period, so you know what your cost is with respect to your goat or your seafood and so forth. And then with your cost of transportation, you also have a fair idea about that. You also, by now, should have a fair idea about your packaging costs and your location costs. Is your location rented or it belongs to you? How do you factor in the cost of location?
The East Legon location is rented.
Okay.
Yes.
So that
and hold up, and the other location?
The other location, we are officially opening it tomorrow. Like, we've now set it up.
So did you
That's
rent
in a
it?
family house.
That's your own home.
There is you put no cost to it.
No cost.
And that's why you need to relook at what you call profit again. You are not paying yourselves. You are not factoring in costs that you think are free, but the day those costs are no longer free, that could impact your business. And so it is important that you start putting some numbers to it. That's what Auntie Mona is trying to talk to you about.
To help you with that, and this is just in a nutshell, maybe my last comment, to help you know your costs of all aspects of your business. And that's why I took you through, so you know each part of it. Some parts of it don't need to be done by yourselves. You can actually farm out some of this value chain. Okay, so for example, you don't need to kill animals yourself. You may buy them, but they go directly to an abattoir.
Yes.
And by going there, you will know what it costs for a goat, a cow, a pig to be killed. So that cost is there. Packaging will then be your business, your core business, because you don't rear the livestock. Your core business will be cutting and packaging and then marketing or selling to your customer. The delivery, you used to farm it out, you're thinking of doing it yourself now. By having farmed it out before, you know what it costs, and therefore it helps you be able to price it, because we are all the experts here will be concerned about whether you are getting any return on your investments at all, and therefore whether you are pricing properly. So once you can farm out certain parts of the job, do that. You don't need to do everything by yourself. Small business owners, always remember, you don't need to do all the value chain by yourself. You can farm out parts of it, and then you include it in your pricing and in your costing as well.
I think that's a very critical point, and we'll come to Petra and look at the marketing side. But when I was going through your profile and your dreams and your goals, there were so many goals, and I felt that you are scaling up too quickly. And you wanted to be, it's almost like you wanted to be in the entire value chain. You want to be in the rearing, you want to be in the sourcing, you want to be in the storage, you want to be in the marketing, you want to be in the packaging. And it's too much for a small business. And what we're saying also is that because you're getting some things for free, you're not even putting a cost to it. So you may be assuming you are more profitable than you actually are. For some of the things that you want to do going forward, it may get to the point where you need outside investors to come in. They would not see you as profitable because you're not putting a cost to a lot of things because you think you're getting free. And you're also spreading yourself too thin. And I think the key word here is collaborate. The same way you're collaborating with the farmers who are rearing the livestock and supplying to you, you need to look for other avenues of collaboration and take the heavy cost, the capital investments off you, and give yourselves time to stabilize in the industry where you are before you start looking at all those other things you want to do. So like Auntie Mona is saying, find avenues for collaboration. Find abattoirs that you can collaborate with so that the meat goes there, the slaughter, they have all the permits and the licenses, it's done in a hygienic and sanitary manner before it comes to you, and then you do the packaging and you do the supply. And we need to be clear from the marketing side, and we're coming to deal with that. When clients are coming to you, when your customers are coming, what are they coming to you for? What are you really selling? I think it's a bit unclear what you are actually selling in terms of services. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll look at their business from the marketing side and what they can do better to improve it. Welcome back, and we're still here with Belinda and Gloria, and they're taking us on a journey through the meat and seafood business. So tell us, who are your customers?
The corporate world.
The corporate world?
The corporate environment. People within the corporate environment. People don't have time to be dress meat or have time to go to the market and buy. So we are looking at providing convenience services.
Even if I have the time to go to the market, do I want to deal with the flies?
Good question.
So again,
in terms of the
convenience.
larger customer base, so you know there's, okay, you said corporate people, but have you thought through the different types of customers in this group of markets that you want to serve? For instance, it's important that you're able to profile your customer. If your customer was a woman, how old is she? What's her lifestyle like? What does she do on a daily basis? If your customer is a family, what's the size of that family? What's the income level of the family? What can they afford? So in structuring your business and making it, scaling it, which is what I expect that you're trying to do, it's important that you clarify who exactly your customer is. You started from family and friends, but there might be some family and friends who are not your customers. For instance, you tend to hear people say things like, oh, your product is too expensive, or it's not what I need. It might not be you, it might just be you not talking to the right group of people. So clarifying who your customer is very important, but not just the customer profiling. What are the segments in the markets that you want to satisfy a
Can
need
you break
for?
that down when you say segments in the market? What
Okay,
exactly
so in
do you
this
mean?
group of corporate people, there are going to be different smaller groups. And even corporate people is just one small group of other people. So maybe they're non-corporate individuals, they're maybe even restaurants. I'm sure you might want to
Caterers?
sell to restaurants, caterers. You might want to sell to people who are organizing maybe small get-togethers, things like that. So even though in our biggest dreams, we want to say everyone is our customer. In reality, for a business, you need to clarify who your customers are specifically. So in this large group of everybody who eats meat and is not vegan, you want to be clear that there are smaller
seafood.
groups of the markets who would actually buy what you're selling, and profile them and be clear. Can they afford what I'm selling? Do they have a need even? Because you can say corporate people, but why do they want to buy what you're selling? So that's, for me, is one of the key things. The next thing I'll ask that you do is to be clear on what your value proposition is.
Yes.
So what are you offering to customers that nobody else is offering to them? Or what are you offering to them better than what's out there? And I'm
Clean
sure,
meat,
yeah,
quick delivery.
and it
what?
has to be very clear in your messaging, in how you communicate it to customers, in the images that you use, in everything that you do. Your value proposition must be clear. Is it convenience? Because you mentioned something about people not wanting to go to the market. Is it speed? The fact that if I wake up in the morning and I want to have a very special lunch meal that includes seafood, I can just call you, and in an hour I'll have my octopus or whatever it is that I want. Is that what you're offering?
The craving of the day.
Exactly. So what are you offering me? Is it hygienic delivery?
Yeah.
Because that's also an issue. If you're moving food from point A to point B, you want to be able to assure your customers that there's not going to be any contamination.
I think there's also the whole thing about organic.
Yes,
meat.
as well, yeah.
What are the livestock being fed on? Are they being fed on harmful chemicals and injections and all that, or they are?
As they say, are they grass-fed?
Yes,
Yes.
are they grass fed?
Corn-fed,
So
yes.
that's a key selling point. If you can ensure from that value chain that they are, grass fed, organic, healthy livestock, then translates into another unique
Yeah. And
selling point or value proposition.
I think
for
in
you.
your profile you mentioned something about buying directly from farmers as well. So you're empowering smallholder farmers. That's something that you can magnify, because
Yeah.
it's an important part of our economy that
Yeah.
farmers at that level get ready market for their produce. So, but it has to be very clear in the things that you say, in how you project the business. You have to be clear about it. Even being sustainably responsible. So you're not disposing of the waste from your business in a way that's harmful to the environment. Can be
Yes.
something that you are projecting to your customers as well.
But they may have to look at their packaging again.
Yes,
For that.
yes. Because if
Reduce
you're
the
using a lot of
plastics and go
polythene,
into,
yeah. If you're using a lot of polythene, then the questions of how environmentally sustainable and responsible are you becomes an issue. So if you can even put in very basic incentives for customers. If you're using polythene, are they going to return the plastics to you? Would they get a discount if they return the bowl? All of those things help
Which
you.
also helps you get repeat orders.
Yes, yes, okay. And then the final thing for me will be, how are you positioning the business? In the minds of your customer, where do you want to sit? Are you positioning as a convenient, affordable business? Are you positioning yourself as a high market niche product or service for a particular type of people? That
Yes.
also has to be clarified in your messaging.
I think from the marketing has kind of taken us into your whole strategic goal and visioning. And even when we discussed your business in-house, it was not very clear what your value proposition was. We see a lot of passion, but there's a lot of work you both have to sit and do together in terms of making sure that this passion also becomes profitable. And in terms of what is your unique value proposition that you're selling. That, I think, would also affect your strategic goals a bit more. And you'd find that when you streamline that vision and you sit and you set timelines for all the goals you need to attain to get to that vision, you would also see the need not to go into a lot of things you intended earlier, and to kind of narrow it a bit strengthen the base of what you have, collaborate more. And I think even from the way you started the business, it shows that you do have a key strength in forming partnerships with your suppliers. It would be very good to build up on that and expand on that need for collaboration and partnership, and try and strengthen the relationship so that you don't have to do a lot more. You don't need to deploy a lot of capital. You don't need to build a cold store. You can form a strong partnership with a cold store and put the capital rather into your stocks rather than into more overheads. So I think there's a little bit of homework you need to do in terms of your visioning process. And when you take this marketing exercise that Petra has put you through, you would find that it strengthens your vision, it makes your goals stronger, and then when you support that with the financial guidance you've received, you'd find that you're in a better position and you can really turn this into profit. And don't treat the business as a joke. That's what we all tend to do. You need to put a value on the time and the labor that you're putting into it and cost it. If you're using family property, put a cost to it, because there is nothing free and it's all part of your expenses. Even if you're not paying for it today, you may be paying for it tomorrow. So maybe you should have it's a different kind of mindset in terms of approaching the business. Take it a bit more seriously. You started it as a hobby. Now we need to turn it into a business. And for the business, every expense, everything needs to be costed. Yeah. But I think we also need to look at your partnership, because there are a lot of people at home friends, family, who have come into an accidental partnership. So how do we formalize that partnership? So how do you see your roles? What do both of you bring to the partnership?
Okay, I come in with
not
more,
just goat meat.
No,
Okay.
I come in with like ideas. I want us to do this. I've seen this. I know this person. Let's contact this person. How do we go about it? And then she will put my ideas together. And then we do research. Because some of the things come as like a picture. So this is how I see it. And so sometimes even in describing it, I'm the only one seeing what's yes. So she helps me like put them together, and then what goes into it, what are the details, what is the money involved, who do we need to see.
Okay, so you are the vision person, she's the detail person.
Yes.
That's fantastic. You actually need each other.
You do. Yeah. Gloria brings structure to your vision that you have. Yeah.
It's a very good balance. I was going to say that as you go through the process of trying to clarify your marketing strategy, one of the things you could also consider is to assess the different products you have. So do a products analysis and figure out what products are profitable, like Charlotte said, and which ones do we want to focus on. So you're going to have in your product portfolio some that you may like, but they're not profitable. And as a business, you have to make the tough decision to decide that, okay, we've done this for a while. It's not making us any money. It's just a nice thing that we do. Yes, and nobody's buying it.
Surprisingly, Ghanaians enjoy a lot of meat and fish.
So you don't have any products? Okay.
We don't have, there's no product that we can point that. And because we are putting it together, someone will call for just fish. At the end of the day, we'll take pork. We'll take tilapia.
Okay.
That's brilliant.
That's good. Okay. So you have a way of bundling it and packaging it for people to buy. That's wonderful. Good, But as you grow the business, you have to do this product analysis so that you're clear that in all of these things you are doing, we're not just focusing on things that feel good, but the things that actually make money for the business.
Yes. Another thing too is that in our line of business, some of the items become seasonal. So for example, in terms of the supply, there are seasons where you won't get specific items from the sea. And then in terms of the demand, there's certain seasons you won't get people buying specific things. And then when it does come, it comes in bulk. That is where our challenge with storage is. And then sometimes too, when you strike a sort of an acquaintance with the fishermen, it helps because when they get their fishes, they call you first hand, and then you can
That's
select
all you need.
what you need and then store it. Yes.
So that's something that you can also sell.
But you don't have to do the storage and everything yourself. Collaborate.
Yes. So you can actually
collaborate,
sell
farm
to
out
the market.
a lot of these things. Yeah.
the fact that maybe there's a particular item not available on the market, but you have first right of purchase, and you're able to get it, and you can sell it at a premium price.
Yeah.
You need to know really what your return is on this thing that we call investment, which is your energy, what you put in terms of money, in terms of skills, ideas, and so forth, and all the people that you hire. Charlotte, just to wrap up on this one, I'd like to say that you are thinking of growth, of expansion, and there's nothing wrong with that. You need to be a little careful about having too much brick and mortar. You have 2 locations
Already,
now,
yeah.
but you are really just trying to get, as we found out from your value proposition, a product or a service to a client. You don't need for the client to actually come to your place often. So maybe you want to reduce that and instead invest in how you deliver to the customer and get stuff to the customer. Because your value proposition is convenience, bottom line. You are not farming. You are not. You are just preparing it and delivering it to. So that is one of the things you want to do. And therefore, I'll ask you to relook at your expansion plan.
Yes.
And view it in that light. How can I be efficient and effective in delivering this value proposition to the target market, so that I don't spend too much and I can increase my margin?
Okay, so Belinda and Gloria, the message is, as much as we want you to grow, scale up slowly. Think more about collaborating, reduce your overheads, and focus on what your core business is. We're going to take a break now. We'll go to the Coach's Corner, and when we come back, we'll wrap up this discussion with Belinda and Gloria.
This is Coach's Corner on Business Compass. I am Coach Bell. Today's tip is on knowing your customers better. Customers are the lifeblood of any business, and more especially for small businesses. Treating them right and giving them a reason to come back is crucial. Treat the customers how you would want to be treated. Knowing your customers better should be of prime concern for your business. When customer service is your priority, financial prosperity is inevitable. Acquiring customers is good for your business, but customer retention is even better. Customers first, always. Become customer obsessed. They are the reason for your being in business anyway. As the saying goes, if you provide value, you will not strive to sell anything. Remember, businesses are about relationships between you and your customers, you and your workers, and you and your money. Keep it a healthy relationship. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Bell. That was good. And welcome back, viewers. Thank you for staying tuned. We're still chatting with Belinda and Gloria of Bels Meat and Seafood Hub. We've looked at their entire value chain, from where they get their products to their delivery points. We've discussed the areas we think they should be focusing on. We've discussed what we think their strategy should be going forward, and how they should be marketing their products, but even more importantly, their bigger strategic goals as they move into the future, and how they should scale up. And we've told them the key word is they should learn to collaborate, outsource some of the things they want to carry, and reduce their overheads. Do you ladies have any questions for us?
No.
No? Okay. I'll go back to my panel. Quick wrap up.
So my take-home message for the 2 of you, and for those at home who may need this too, is number 1, ensure that your subsidiary, Bels Meat and Seafood Hub, is properly registered, and you continue to have all the approvals that you need. Approvals are never one time. Many of them are continuous. So continue to have all those regulatory approvals in place. Continue to educate yourselves. Continue your research. Find out what is new in the market. If there is anything you need to learn, do that. We want to see that you are adding value to what you are picking up, because your value proposition is about convenience. In the convenience space, what are the value additions that you may do? Right now you're doing this, you're doing pork chop, you may start doing bacon, so forth. So keep checking the market to find out what the market needs, and you add to that. If there is an advisory team or group of experts, and I know that Charlotte is looking to put up such a group, tap into it, ask for help. Never think that because the vision is yours, you know it all. Ask, because there may be other things that may blindside you. So ask and know it so that you're always on the right path. Focus on quality control. Focus on quality control. That thing that you deliver, if it does not hit home, if it's not good enough, the feedback is not going to be pretty. So please make sure quality control is key, and consider, as Charlotte said, linkages to other parts of your business. Sometimes you think, oh, then I'm giving away my business. You may find that it is cheaper than you trying to do it yourself.
And then you
it
can
will
cost
help
it
you
better.
to exactly cost it and grow it. Then we can talk about the numbers that are much bigger. For now, the numbers that you have, I don't want us to overdo, because they are just small numbers. They're almost like you're testing the market and checking it out. But if you're able to source out, then you can grow the numbers and have it bigger. So we wish you well as you grow your business.
Well, it's been a very interesting conversation, especially the fact that you've put a lot of passion and energy into this. I just hope that it would grow bigger beyond just something that you're excited about to being a very profitable business. And so I'll say 3 key things. Clarify who your customer is. Ensure that your message, your value proposition is clear. And then the third thing is that you're communicating it consistently and you're living up to that promise. So your brand and what you want to give to the markets must be consistent. Every time they hear about Bels Meats and Seafood Hub, there should be an emotional attachment that they have.
What do you stand for?
A good feeling, yes. What do you stand for? Is it that if I have a craving in the morning, by afternoon I'll have it satisfied, and it will come at a good price, it will come clean. So that has to be something that you work towards. And your branding journey is not going to be an event. It's going to be a long-term process. So just you being consistent, keeping at the things that you do, keeping the messaging consistent and building it. So as you journey through that path, at some point you know that, okay, we're doing very well here. This is what we need to improve. This is what we're not doing too well. So I wish you an exciting journey beyond this point. Yeah.
My lovely ladies, it's been good to have you. And thank you for coming to share your story and your journey with us. I think you can tell that we're all excited about your business and really, really want you to do well. We want you to expand, but we want you to expand slowly. Build on the strengths that you have. And I think for you to start a business without putting in tons of capital and just connecting, it means that you have a rare gift for partnerships and for collaboration. Now it started growing. I see that you want to do too many things. Don't get into too many things, otherwise you will lose the core, which was Petra's message and which is also Mona's message. So this is a visual reminder to you to remember to collaborate with each other, with your partners, with your suppliers, with the board we know you're going to get. And like Mona said, seek help. Know your customer. So learn to collaborate, scale down, grow slowly, and we know that we're going to bring you back and you'll be telling us many success stories. We wish you the best. And viewers, thank you for joining us today. It's been our privilege to walk a very interesting journey with Belinda and Gloria. We've learned a lot about their business. We're sure you guys have learned a lot, and we sure hope that you viewers at home too, you've learned a lot. Join us next week on Business Compass, and remember, we are the GPS for your business.
So I took 3 things away from the discussion that we had. The first being that we need to get proper structures in place in terms of regulations, in terms of registration. And so we are going to work on that judiciously as we live here. The second is when it comes to marketing, we need to properly define who our customer base is, because the business is grown from our initial targets of the corporate world to other aspects. So we need to sit down and properly define them and be able to meet their demands. And the third will be our value proposition. What is it exactly that we are selling? So are we selling how efficient we are, how we do everything in a hygienic environment, how fast we actually deliver on orders? So as we live here, we're going to have a proper meeting, a proper discussion, put pen on paper and actually jot all these things down and work on them.
We thought starting a business, we thought you could just do everything by yourself. But today we've learned from the panels that we should go through our line of business, and then we cannot do everything by ourselves. We should outsource and then learn to collaborate. It makes us our head cost be reduced if we are able to collaborate with other sources.